I didn't attend the student union team building event because I had a stomachache. That night, the president initiated a group payment in the chat. The total cost for the team building event is 5,872 yuan, 2 per person. Everyone pay up quickly. Then all 10 freshmen were tagged in the message. I was among them. I saw photos of the faculty, student union team, building event on my social media feed. 9 freshmen, along with the president's secretary, a few department heads, and some unfamiliar faces. 16 or 17 people sitting in a circle. The men in the center were all flushed from drinking. Empty liquor bottles were piled in front of everyone. Both white liquor and beer. I texted my roommate Nathan. How was the team building event? You didn't drink, did you? Nathan quickly replied, drank half a bottle of beer. It's a long story. Really glad you didn't come. What happened? I pressed further, but there was no response from the other end. After waiting endlessly, Nathan finally returned just before lights out. His face flushed red from alcohol, his neck crimson, as he complained to me with clear displeasure. He said that before the student union president arrived, none of the newcomers were allowed to sit. Even after the president came, everyone had to keep standing to listen to his lecture. The 9 newcomers had to line up to toast him, and none of their toasting phrases could be repeated. I was utterly baffled. What the hell? Is this an imperial audience or what? I never expected Nathan's next words to be even more outrageous. Those with talents had to perform on the spot, while those without had to go to the private room door and imitate a pig-esque squeal. They called it building courage and boosting confidence. How absurd. Nathan seemed to recall some painful memories. I already said I couldn't drink, but Peter turned hostile, even slamming his chopsticks. Everyone else pressured me, saying this is how it is in the student union. If you can't drink, why even join? Peter is the student union president of our college. It's not that I necessarily judge people by appearances. This guy's a fat head and big ears, always looking at people sideways, acting all pretentious. My first impression of him wasn't great. I remember that table full of empty liquor bottles. You guys really drank a lot, I see. The freshmen had no choice but to drink, though most of it was down by those sophomores and juniors. Peter wasn't satisfied with just beer. He had to move on to hard liquor too. I don't get it. Since when did student unions adopt this drinking table culture? I suddenly think I understand why there are no female department heads in our faculty as student union. That must have cost quite a bit, right? Nathan shook his head, not sure, probably over 100 per person. Ugh, just thinking about it makes my wallet hurt. Just as we were talking, a message arrived in the student union group chat. The total team building cost is 5,872 yuan, 580 per person. Everyone please pay promptly. This was immediately followed by a group payment link. Nathan was shocked and wailed in despair. 580 per person for one meal. How could it be this expensive? I was equally surprised, since when did student gatherings reach such extravagant standards? I suddenly realized something was off. Why are we splitting the bill for 10 people when there are over a dozen of us? Nathan caught on too. Holy shit, you're right. Right after we said this, Peter had a bunch of people in the group chat. Not too many, not too few. All 10 freshmen were included. I was actually among them. Wait, dude, what the hell does this have to do with me? A girl timidly spoke up. Peter, why is it so expensive? Another newcomer said, I did a rough calculation yesterday, and it doesn't seem like it should be this much, right? Peter immediately threw out a photo. It was a bill as if prepared in advance. See clearly 5,872 yuan there. No way, we're overcharging you. I clicked open the photo. Damn. 2 bottles of baijiu cost over 3,000 and beer over 1,000. What kind of legendary weirdos are these student union cadres? They were the ones who consumed most of it, yet they made the new members split the bill. What is even more outrageous is that they included me, who didn't even attend. Peter, ed that girl again. And don't call me senior, okay? Didn't I tell you that during the first meeting brains are useful? I hope you have some. Write Peter 100 times by hand and hand it to me tomorrow morning. The girl replied, sorry, chairman. For I clicked on the payment link and found that 4 people had already paid. During this time, Peter sent another reminder. The secretary tagged the remaining 6 people. Several department heads also stepped in to speak up. The meal money was advanced by the chairman, so everyone should pay up properly. It's just $500. Why all the hesitation? Did Peter talk about social etiquette and worldly wisdom today go in one ear and out the other? Everyone couldn't withstand the pressure. One after another, a few more people paid up. In the end, only 2 remained unpaid. Nathan and Peter tagged us again. If you don't have money, ask your parents or borrow from others. I made it clear on the first day of the meeting, from now on, everything in the student union, big or small, should be your top priority. Nathan kept gripping his phone, clenching his teeth in silence. I know his family isn't well off, and he's usually very frugal. 600 yuan is nearly his entire monthly food budget. Just for a meal among students, yet demanding such a large sum is truly asking too much. And why should I even pay for this? Nathan is an honest, hardworking student who joined the student union partly to improve himself and partly because it would help with merit evaluations. No matter how unwilling he was, he didn't dare confront the student union president. but I was afraid. I only joined the student union out of boredom, signing up together with Nathan. I directly tagged Peter. Senior, I don't quite get it. Everyone ate together, yet only the freshmen are being asked to pay. Is that appropriate? Also, since I didn't even attend their no reason, I should have to chip in either. After sending the message, Simon, the secretary, replied with a single. I also replied to him with a. Peter spoke up, but not to me. Simon, teach this idiot a proper lesson. 5. Simon immediately replied, got it, Peter. Matthew from the External Relations Department. First of all, Peter's account, ISNT, something a mere staffer, like you can tag remember your place. Second, are you blind or stupid? Can't you understand when you are told to address him as chairman? Now, regarding your first question, there's nothing inappropriate about a freshman treating the chairman and department heads to dinner is a long-standing tradition of the student union. Finally, about your second issue, you've already committed the mistake of distancing yourself from the organization by missing the first team building event for you newcomers. We're giving you a chance to make up for it now, and you'd better appreciate this opportunity. And what about you, Nathan? Didn't you eat the food? Didn't you drink the alcohol? Truly worthy of being a secretary, listing everything point by point like this. What a load of crap, dressing up this scam to make me the fool. So beautifully, truly the work of someone who has been in the student union. Nathan grew uneasy. Hanyu, this, it feels like we can't refuse. I told him to keep calm. I scrolled up through the chat history. Who would VE thought that bill actually got retracted? Luckily, ID already memorized most of it just now. Looking at the bill, excluding alcohol, your food orders came to about 100 yuan divided among 17 people. That's 7 yuan each. As for drinks, Nathan only had half a bottle of beer. So let us round it up to 1 bottle. Another 7 yuan total comes to 7 yuan. Faculty student union Peter, I'll pay 72 yuan for him. Keep the change. As for me, sorry, but I won't pay a single cent. That ISNT, rightfully mine. I immediately sent Peter a 72 yuan red envelope after saying that. 6. Nathan was shocked by my move. Peter, who had just been too proud to speak to me, couldn't hold back anymore. What kind of attitude is this? Who gave you the courage to talk to me like that? Right after Simon and several other department heads all launched fierce attacks against me. Each one accused me of disrespecting authority and disregarding the student union's rules and regulations. In an instant, I became the common enemy of all student union officials. Nathan spoke up for me. Peter, Hanyu genuinely had stomach issues. He didn't skip the team building event on purpose. A bold freshman spoke up. President, actually we didn't drink that much. Yet paying 100 or 200 per person would be manageable, but 580 is really too much. I don't have much left in my living expenses this month anyway. Peter was so furious that he sent a voice message cursing outright. If you join the student union, but don't obey, don't unite, and don't cooperate, what the hell did you join for? Do you know how many people in this school would kill to suck up to me, begging to treat me to meals that I've refused? You're just being ungrateful when given face. Matthew, Nathan, I order you to pay the team building fees immediately or face the consequences. Nathan looked worried. Hanyu, he's the president and probably has good connections with the counselor and the youth league secretary. What if he really makes trouble for us? I scoffed. He's a damn joke. Don't be intimidated by that president title. The student union exists to serve students, not for him to throw his weight around. Are you really willing to be his cash cow and fork over $600? Nathan shook his head. Then I'll transfer the money to you. No rush, wait until Peter accepts my red packet first. Let us sleep. Now, ignore their shouting. We've got an 8 a.m. class tomorrow. By the time I woke up the next morning, Peter still hadn't claimed my red packet. 7. Nathan grew increasingly worried. He even asked me several times if he should just pay the money, saying at worst he'd eat less for the next few months. I said these people are clearly treating us freshmen like fools. Even if you pay Peter now, he still won't treat you any better. Just before the first class ended, Peter suddenly everyone in the group chat. Everyone, all members must immediately go to room 501 in teaching building 8 for a meeting. 5-minute time limit. Latecomers will be fined 100 yuan, and those who don't show up will be kicked out of the student union. 100 yuan fine. Is this guy out of his mind for money? And it's pouring rain outside. Just 5 minutes. Does he think we can all fly or something? Nathan grew visibly anxious and started packing up to slip out the back door. He saw I wasn't budging. Hanyu, aren't you coming? Though I'm not particularly fond of classes either, I just can't stand Peter as high and mighty attitude. Besides, I just called him out in the group chat last night, and today, their essay meeting. Pretty sure it's aimed at me. I'm in no hurry, I'll go after class. Nathan knew my temper. He had no choice but to say, then I'll go first. I'll tell them you were held back by the teacher's questions, and couldn't get away. Make sure you come as soon as class ends. After class, I strolled leisurely to the meeting place where Peter was standing on the podium, shouting his head off. Damn it all, in all my years at this school, I've never seen anyone dare to withhold event funds like this. A group of freshmen sat rigidly upright in their seats. Nathan was even standing looking utterly humiliated as he got chewed out like a naughty child. That's when our department head spotted me. Matthew, why are you so late? 8. Peter immediately turned his head upon hearing this. He looked me up and down, his brows furrowed so tightly they could crush a fly. So you're Matthew. Yes, senior. I deliberately emphasized the word senior. Call me chairman. All right, senior. Someone couldn't hold back their laughter. On the first day in the student union, Peter didn't discuss how to carry out future work with the department heads. All he talked about was this bullshit about showing them respect. When you meet them on the road, you must take the initiative to greet them and then stand in place to watch the senior leave. If you encounter them in the cafeteria, you must voluntarily give up your seat and, if necessary, even help them save a seat and fetch their meal. When a senior sends a message, no matter how late it is, you must reply immediately. If a senior gives an order, no matter how busy you are, you must drop what you're doing and attend to it once. What a joke did I join the student council just to find myself a bunch of daddies to serve. I refused to call him president just to piss this guy off. Peter indeed flew into a rage. Are you deliberately opposing me? Stay right there. You're not coming in. Senior, it's raining so hard it's not good for me to stay outside. Cut the crap with me. Having said that, he addressed everyone as if reading an imperial edict. Matthew, a member of the External Relations Department, feigned illness to skip regular team building activities, demonstrating a lack of essential communication and teamwork spirit. He refused to accept and correct reasonable guidance from the president, instead responding with confrontational language and a hostile attitude. He deliberately arrived late to meetings and showed a negative work ethic. His actions severely damaged the organization as harmonious atmosphere and hindered the overall efficiency of the student union. 30 points deducted from his moral education score. The moment the words fell, gasps rose and fell like waves throughout the classroom. I raise an eyebrow. For context, skipping party activities only deducts 3 points, and even minor physical altercations typically result in just 3 5-point deductions. Yet now, simply for failing to comply with Peter's unreasonable demands and showing him disrespect, I'm facing a 30-point penalty. He truly lows me 9. Nathan, who had been keeping his head down while being reprimanded, couldn't help but protest. Peter, this is too much. If my moral education score is too low, I won't be able to participate in any awards or honors. It might even affect my graduation. Our school is pretty ridiculous. In the comprehensive student evaluation, academic performance accounts for 70, while moral education scores make up 30. This means that even if you're ranked first academically, your overall ranking could plummet dozens of places after adding the moral education score, making you ineligible for scholarships and grants. Meanwhile, some students with terrible grades but high moral scores might actually reap many benefits. No one can afford to ignore their moral education score. That's why Peter dared to use this to threaten me. He sneered. Good that you know. The other freshmen were all looking at me with immense sympathy at this moment. In contrast, the person involved was actually much calmer. Senior, is this really necessary? Peter thought he had successfully intimidated me. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll really think this student council president is just for show. I think you should go eat shit. Making a mountain out of a molehill, why don't you just fly to the moon? I stayed silent, which only made Peter more smug. Didn't he? I warn you, regretting it now, want to beg for mercy. The student union secretary sees the moment President Peter is magnanimous, pay the event fees and the 100 yuan fine for being late to the meeting, then apologize properly. Since you're new, we'll let it slide this time, but you still have to write a self-criticism. This secretary is no good either. I haven't even spoken to him, but yesterday in the group chat, he was the one who cursed at me the most. When I joined the student union, I heard he is most likely to be the next president. That's why he has been sucking up to Peter so eagerly. Isn't it? When it comes down to it, it's all about those 580 bucks. If I back down today and actually give him the money, I'd just be emboldening these kinds of people. Absolutely not happening. I spread my hands, no money, and even if I had it, I wouldn't give it. 10. The secretary hadn't expected me to be so unyielding and was completely stunned. Peter, needless to say, in his mind, I should have immediately softened my attitude and obediently met his demands by now. Having been publicly humiliated by me repeatedly, Peter gnashed his teeth and said, fine, you're really something utterly audacious. As the student union president, I'm informing you right now you're expelled from the student union. The classroom was eerily silent. Every pair of eyes was fixed unblinkingly on me. I might be the first freshman in school history to get expelled from the student union within a week for defying the president. I smiled faintly. What a pleasant surprise, thanks, senior. I was actually quite excited when I first joined the student union, genuinely ready to roll up my sleeves and get some real work done. Little did I know that from the president to the department heads, every single one of them was a complete idiot. Getting kicked out fine by me, this toxic student union, isn't worth my time anyway. Peter's face darkened even more after hearing what I said. You got guts, we'll see about that. With that, he shouted, meeting adjourned, and stormed off with a dark expression. I remained completely unfazed and urged Nathan to hurry up for lunch. Nathan wore a worried look the entire way. Hanyu, is it true that Peter said he's going to deduct points from you? What should we do? We'll deal with it when he actually does it. The student union does have some minor authority in assisting the school with student management, but any point deductions must be justified and follow the regulations outlined in the student handbook. Is there any rule that requires members to address you as chairman? Is there any rule that makes team building activities mandatory with payment required for absence? Suddenly, I thought of Nathan's situation. I quickly asked him if he had given Peter any money. Nathan immediately felt guilty. Before you came, Peter and Simon kept mocking me and threatening me with demerits. I really had no choice. I'm sorry, Hanyu. I just didn't dare to offend them. 11. I patted him on the shoulder. After all, few freshmen are as reckless as I am unafraid of offending the student union, especially not someone as honest and rural as Nathan. I opened my phone ready to immediately leave the student union's WeChat group, only to find that Peter had claimed my red packet just a minute ago. How is he okay? I tagged Peter in the group chat. Peter regretting it, now trying to beg me too late. Me, you're supposed to be the president, but your greed is just too shameless. Peter, what are you talking about? Me, give that red envelope back right now. The next second, to my surprise, I got kicked out of the group chat. Alright. So that is how you want to play it, huh? Nathan apologized to me with deep regret. Hanyu, you got into this mess because you were helping me. It's my fault. I'll cover the cost for you, though. I don't have enough money right now. I waved my hand to cut him off. Don't blame yourself. I said this isn't your fault. Every debt has its debtor. 70-some bucks I can afford to lose. But that bastard Peter pulling this shit, I can't stomach it. I'm getting that money back from him no matter what. I asked Nathan who else was there when Peter settled the bill yesterday. He didn't understand why I suddenly asked this. After finishing the meal, he asked us to leave, first while he stayed behind to settle the bill. What's wrong? I said slowly, if I remember correctly, the bill Peter sent showed a total of 1050 yuan for beer, which means you ordered 150 bottles. Nathan exclaimed, how is that possible? There definitely weren't that many yesterday. There were 17 people in total, including 3 girls. If we're talking about 150 bottles, that means each person would have to drink 10 bottles. What does that tell you? Nathan looked incredulous. The restaurant actually miscalculated our bill. I facepalmed. He was such an honest kid, still unaware of how low some people could stoop. 12 miscounting a few bottles is possible, but do you really think they miscount over 100 bottles? If it's not a miscalculation, then Peter must be cooking the books. No wonder the bill was retracted right after being issued yesterday. He had a guilty conscience. I know some salespeople at companies who deliberately ask restaurants to overcharge when entertaining clients so they can claim more reimbursement from the company. Never thought Peter would pull this trick too, abusing his position for personal gain. Nathan clicked his tongue. This is practically fraud. Indeed, turns out the real daredevil wasn't me. Someone else had been bolder. Nathan asked me what we should do next. We couldn't just let Peter embezzle everyone's money. I carefully considered the feasibility of various plans. He definitely wouldn't admit it if we confronted him directly. Reporting to the counselor wouldn't work. Either we currently lack concrete evidence, and Peter would probably just claim he accidentally ordered too much. Just then, the head of our external relations department suddenly messaged me. To resign from the student union, follow these steps. 1. Submit a withdrawal application to the department head. 2. Handwrite a detailed withdrawal statement and reasons exceeding 10,000 characters. 3. The department head reports it to the president. For after approval by organizational discussion, report it to the youth league committee teacher. 5. After approval, hand over departmental duties and report the withdrawal to the higher level organization for record keeping. 6. During this period, the student official must continue to participate in and cooperate with departmental work as usual. 7. After withdrawing from the student union, the student shall receive a public reprimand college-wide and be disqualified from that year's evaluations for outstanding student official and outstanding communist youth league official. Page after page of such regulations. I skimmed through it without a single ripple in my heart. The other side added, of all people you had to offend Peter, now you're screwed. How Peter says you only have 2 days to finish and submit your application to me. I replied with a dumbass and then blocked him. 13. Shortly after, Secretary Simon messaged me. Are you insane? Insulting a superior and blocking him. You haven't even quit the student union, yet do you want to be blacklisted at this school? I spread my favors equally. I replied, dumbass to him too, then blocked him. 2 minutes later, Peter called me on voice chat. I hung up immediately for this bastard's upgraded treatment. I sent 3 consecutive total dumbass messages, still keeping him blocked. Simple trash talk, ultimate satisfaction. Peter's revenge came swiftly. That very night, he personally led a dormitory inspection team to our room. He kicked our door open with a bang, startling everyone inside. The trash can went flying from another kick of his. Trash cans must not contain any trash. All the books and pens on the desk were swept onto the floor by him. Nothing is allowed to be placed on the desk. The clothes drying on the balcony were violently yanked down and thrown on the ground by him. No clothes allowed to be hung on the balcony. Even our dorm leader, who was already in bed, got caught in the crossfire. No people allowed to sleep in beds. Finally, he looked at me with an air of superiority. Dorm 306 fails, hygiene inspection, severely 10 points deducted. The dorm leader couldn't help but say, doesn't that mean all our points will be deducted? I don't believe other dorms have completely empty desks, or that no one hangs clothes on their balconies. Peter snorted coldly, are you the student union president, or am I? When I conduct dorm inspections, what I say goes. As he spoke, he kept glancing sideways at me. Then, none of the four of us in the dorm said another word. Before leaving, he whispered to me, this is just the beginning. I'll make sure you learn what happens when you cross the student union. After everyone had left, I asked Brian, did you get it recorded? My roommate Brian nodded. Good thing I'd been keeping an eye on Peter all along. When I learned the student union was conducting dorm inspections, I immediately had Brian hide his phone and secretly start recording. After tidying up the dorm, I told my roommates, this time I've gotten everyone involved, and I'll treat you all to barbecue to make it up. As for the demerit points, don't worry, I'll definitely get them back from the counselor. 14. Fortunately, I built good relationships in the dorm, and even the dorm leader said it was no problem. That Peter, who does he think he is putting on airs worse than a professor? I heard he brags to everyone that even a youth league committee secretary has to show him some respect. Why doesn't he just claim he is more powerful than the university president? Everyone chimed in with complaints. Nathan looked at his phone and suddenly said angrily, Peter just announced in the group chat that all freshman staff have to volunteer to move tables tomorrow, yet again cutting into class time. Hanyu, he told me to call you too. He says since you haven't officially quit the student union, yet you still have to contribute your share. LOL, this dumbass actually thought I'd obediently go do manual labor. The next day, Nathan reluctantly went to volunteer, telling me to cover for him if the teacher took attendance. I arrived at the classroom and hadn't even taken out my books when a massive shadow loomed over me. Great, it's Peter again. He first took a click photo of a soda bottle on my desk, then said with great seriousness, I'll send this to your academic advisor to show your improper attitude in class. It was announced yesterday that all student officers must attend today's event without exception or face point deductions. Why are you still here? I put on an innocent face. Didn't you already expel me? That was just a verbal notice. Have you written your application? Submitted. It has the department reviewed. It approved. Peter kept firing questions, his voice particularly loud. Everyone in the classroom turned to look in our direction. Peter said arrogantly, do you know the consequences of not participating in student union activities? I pretended to think for a few seconds before replying with feigned concern, will you execute me by firing squad? The classroom suddenly erupted in a burst of raucous laughter. 15. Peter angrily scolded the crowd. What are you laughing at? Stop laughing, all of you. Matthew, you better take this seriously. I pointed at my phone and said, class is about to start. You should leave now. Even if you are the student council president, you can't disrupt others' classes. Some classmates who were on good terms with me joined in the commotion, including quite a few who had long been dissatisfied with the student union. Yeah, let us get out of here. Stop throwing your weight around. Read the room. If you're so capable, why don't you come up here and teach us instead? Peter's face turned ashen. What was meant to intimidate me ended up making him lose face publicly. How could he possibly endure that? He was about to speak when the class bell rang. Seeing the teacher about to enter, Peter pointed at me with his index finger before turning to leave. The first class ended, and I received a text message from him, repeatedly defying and insulting student union officials, skipping group activities without reason, quitting without submitting an application. Do you think the student union is your family's business? Coming and going as you please. I'll keep deducting your points, and I'll report all your misconduct to the advisor and have it recorded in your file. You'll regret this, kid. I replied, don't just talk the talk. I bet you don't actually dare to go to the advisor. He immediately messaged back, I don't dare to go to the advisor. You think I don't dare to go to the advisor? If you dare, let us go to the advisor's office together right now. If you've got the guts, have her punish me to my face. Peter cursed, fuck your mother. Let us go. Whoever chickens out is a grandson downstairs now. Peter was waiting for me downstairs. When he saw me appear, his face twisted with rage. Looks like you're fucking asking for death. He kept making calls along the way to rally the troops. Simon, come to the advisor's office right now. Hurry up. Eric, I'll be at the advisor's office soon. Gather all the other department heads. Yes, that Joe guy today. We're going to teach this kid a lesson about who really runs the student union. 16. All the advisors in our department shared one large office. Peter walked to the door, still making sure to straighten his clothes. He was indeed quite familiar with the counselor. Professor Chin, sorry to disturb you here. The situation, Matthew from class 03 of the electrical engineering department has been behaving extremely poorly since joining the student union. Not only has he shown a negative attitude toward work, refusing to participate in organized group activities and disregarding advice and warnings from superiors, but he has also verbally abused all of us student union. Officers we tried everything, but when we asked him to leave the student union, he refused to cooperate. Such a morally corrupt student deserves disciplinary action, otherwise others might follow his example, making it impossible for our student union to function properly. The counselor already seemed about 70-80 convinced, looking at me with displeasure. Is this true? At this moment, Simon and several other department heads all arrived. The group took turns speaking, mixing truth with lies in perfect coordination, desperately trying to prove I was exactly the kind of person Peter had described. The advisor was furious. Joe, Hanyu, your behavior is serious enough for the college to issue a public reprimand. In all my years of teaching, I've never encountered a student as brazen as you. Hearing the advisor mention public reprimand, Peter's lips curled into a smirk. I calmly replied, Professor Chun, the student union spent over $5,000 on a single team building event, and I was asked to split the bill even though I didn't attend. Do you think that's reasonable? I never expected that refusing to pay would offend Peter. To my surprise, the counselor sharply cut me off. I know Peter's work ethic and character better than you. Team building is an internal matter for the student union. Don't try to distract me with excuses. With so many student union officials involved, it's impossible. They're all lying about you. Peter's smirk practically reached the heavens. Professor Chun, don't listen to his nonsense. I never actually took his money in the end. He opened his phone to show the counselor, then gestured for Simon and the outreach department head to pull up their chat records too. And look here, SM cursing at us in WeChat with a student like this. How can we not give him disciplinary action? After speaking, Peter turned to look at me, searching my face for any trace of fear. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. I remained as steady as an old dog, even laughing as I said, not just in WeChat, I dare call you out right now, in front of all the teachers, to you absolute dumbass 24K, pure dumbass. Peter's smile vanished instantly. The other teachers in the office, shocked to hear me swear so openly in public, all looked up in astonishment. 17, Peter squealed like a fattened hog ready for slaughter. Professor Chin, you heard that, right? He dares to act like this right in front of you, a student like this. The school wouldn't be wrong to expel him. Simon and the others joined in shouting. This is too much. What a terrifying student. How could our school have someone like this? The academic advisor was also furious. After all this happened in front of all the department's advisors, having a student she supervised act so arrogantly was practically a slap in her face. She slammed the pen in her hand heavily onto the desk, about to unleash her fury on me. Suddenly, I raised my voice and declared, Professor Chun, I want to report this under my real name. Peter has abused his position, fabricating expense receipts under the guise of student union team building events. He forced all freshman members to split the cost just so he could pocket the extra money. Someone like this doesn't deserve to be the student union president, cheating classmates and exploiting power for personal gain. What else is he but a scumbag? I don't think I've misjudged him. My words landed like a bombshell. No one had expected this twist, and they all stood there dumbfounded. Only Peter's dazed face betrayed a faint trace of panic that others failed to notice. You're talking nonsense. I pulled out a few crumpled sheets of paper from my pocket, documents I'd printed out long ago. Professor Chun, this photo shows his payment collection screenshot in the group chat. 9 people paying 2 yuan, each totaling 8 yuan. This photo shows him claiming my red envelope, 72 yuan, combined with Peter's 8 yuan. He has taken a total of 80 yuan from us. Peter managed to maintain his composure for the moment. I admit this team building event was a bit expensive, but I absolutely didn't fabricate any receipts. That red envelope was voluntarily sent to me after I claimed it. He changed his mind and has been holding a grudge, deliberately slandering me. The counselor casually placed those 2 sheets of paper on the desk. So you've learned to slander student union officials now. I truly can't handle students like you. A major demerit is unavoidable for you. Seeing the counselor siding with him, Peter visibly relaxed. He subtly puffed out his chest and even curled his lip at me. I want to laugh. Fine. Having backing makes all the difference. But if I were to play my final trump card, how would you respond, sir? Professor Chin, could you take another look at this? It's the invoice I obtained from that restaurant. It clearly states that the student union's team building event that night actually only cost 438 yuan. 18, Peter couldn't laugh anymore. He never expected in his wildest dreams that I'd actually produce the receipt. The receipt was obtained yesterday when Nathan and I went to the restaurant to request it. Turns out Peter wasn't just fudging the beer quantities. Even the liquor was fake. The actual alcohol consumed was much cheaper than the 2 bottles of Luzhou Laojiao Teca listed on the bill. Peter, don't you dare claim you were too drunk to remember correctly that day. The restaurant issues receipts. Based on what you actually paid, they might give you a fake bill, but they want to falsify receipts for you. Falsifying bills is at best a moral issue, and at worst it borders on fraud. Besides, we're not talking about 1 or 200 here, it's several thousand. Several other teachers, realizing the gravity of the situation, gathered around. Peter's forehead was beaded with large drops of sweat. The counselor stared at the invoice in silence, her head lowered. Now in front of the other teachers, let us see how she can still play favorites this time. The student union members nearby stood frozen in shock, their disbelieving eyes fixed on Peter. I didn't care whether they knew or not. My priority was giving them all a good scare first. Teacher, I suspect these people were also in on it and share the spoils. Simon was startled, shaking his head like a rattle-drum. Professor Chin, I don't know anything. I really didn't know about this. The other department heads could no longer maintain their composure, hastily distancing themselves from Peter. Peter was the one who ordered all those dishes and alcohol. We knew nothing about it. He was the only one who wouldn't pay the bill. Professor Chun, I truly had no idea, otherwise I would never have allowed him to do this. Peter's face turned as pale as a sheet of paper. For someone who usually scolds students so fiercely and even argued stubbornly in front of the teacher just moments ago, he now couldn't utter a single word. Damn, that feels good. After a long pause, the counselor finally said stiffly, this matter involves significant implications, and any misstep could have serious negative consequences for the students. I need to report it to the college first and conduct a thorough investigation before making any decisions. Screw her with irrefutable evidence right in front of her. She's still worried about causing negative impacts on Peter. When she was targeting me earlier, why didn't she talk about thorough investigations? She was all about being impartial and executing immediate justice then. But after all, she's still the counselor. I can't say anything harsh to her like I did to Peter. All right, Professor Chun, this matter has significant impact and involve a large sum of money. Myself and the other affected members will await the college's decision. We trust that you and the school will deliver a fair judgment. The counselor's expression was grave, his face dark and unreadable as he didn't respond to me. The other teachers exchanged uneasy glances. One teacher waved at us. All right, everyone except the student union president should leave now. No spreading rumors. Privately, the college will call you in for questioning if necessary. So be mentally prepared. Compared to Peter's fraud, the accusations he just made against me have become trivial matters. Besides, I was one of the victims after all, so I strode out of the office with my head held high. Simon and a few department heads slunk out behind me. When I returned to the dorm, Nathan was already there. He had no idea I'd just fought a battle in the office. He poured out his grievances to me. Let me tell you, all us freshmen skipped class today to do this work, and we're exhausted. We thought at least we'd get some moral education credits for volunteering, so it wouldn't be a total waste. But then a sophomore senior told us that's not how it works at all. She's been tricked more than once before. You know what? All our hard work might just end up being credited to those department heads. And as for extra credits, forget about us getting any. This student union is downright corrupt. I really regret this. We'd have been better off spending this time actually attending classes and studying. By the way, since you didn't go today, did Peter give you any more trouble? I smiled. The one with big trouble now is him. 20. When I reported Peter, all the other faculty advisors in our department were present. Even though our advisor was reluctant, he couldn't cover it up and had to report the truth. The matter wasn't complicated, and the investigation results came out quickly. Peter had falsified bills, swindling freshmen out of considerable sums under the guise of team building activities. Given the severity of his misconduct, he was publicly censured throughout the entire college. Considering it was his first offense, his good attitude in admitting his mistakes, and his timely refund of all the money to the freshmen, the school ultimately imposed the following penalties: removal from all student union positions, revocation of all outstanding cadre honors, disqualification from all merit-based evaluations and party membership eligibility, and a major demerit recorded in his permanent file. Although he avoided jail time, he could no longer hold his head up in school after this. Nathan was especially happy the day he got his refund. Hanyu, you're amazing. I never thought we could actually take down the student council president. I shook my head. One Peter falls, another Simon rises to power. They're all the same damn scum. Peter was removed from his position as student council president, and Simon, the secretary, smoothly ascended to become the new president. That guy got lucky this time, but he just keep throwing his weight around later. Besides, Peter deducted points from our dormitory, and I haven't gotten them back, yet I can't just let this go. Not long after a video went viral online, all the marketing accounts went crazy reposting it. Related topics trended across major platforms. Student Union's violent dorm inspections. See University Student Union comparable to organized crime. Why can't trash bins contain trash? No people allowed in beds after 10 p.m. in dorms. Are ghosts supposed to be there instead? College students groveling before the student union. The video clearly captured Peter and others' despicable expressions, with every word they said being broadcast without omission. The school was engulfed in a massive public opinion storm. It even alarmed the provincial education department, which issued a document demanding our university strictly address the issue of student union members violently inspecting dormitories. Meanwhile, students have been actively reporting problems on the Sunshine platform. Some pointed out that the university's moral education scores are heavily inflated with certain class committee members, counselors, and student unions able to manipulate them at will. Others argued that moral education scores account for too large a proportion, which is unfair to those who dedicate all their time to academic studies. Some also say that this system is prone to corruption, leading to widespread falsification of moral education scores. 21. The school had no choice but to take it seriously, requiring all college youth league committees, student union organizations, and classes to implement rectification measures. On the second day after a dormitory went viral online, the academic advisor announced in the department's group chat that the demerit Peter gave us would be invalidated. They then strictly forbade us from participating in any online discussions to prevent further damage to the school's reputation. When Simon, newly appointed, came to inspect our dorm with his team, his expression was utterly awkward. I warmly invited him to come in quickly. I shook the trash in my hand. Senior, can I throw this in the trash bin? He pursed his lips and nodded. Brian asked, Senior, I just did laundry. Can I hang it on the balcony? Under the pretense of building courage and boosting confidence, Fushue, the dorm leader, asked from his bed, Senior, it's not even 10 yet. Can I stay in bed? Simon couldn't take it anymore. After a quick check, he made a hasty escape. Nathan sighed deeply. Damn, I'm not even used to this anymore. With Peter's example serving as a warning along with the school's disciplinary actions, the members of the faculty student union from top to bottom have all become much more restrained. Anyone who dares to put on airs or throw their weight around with students will immediately face complaints and reports. As for Peter, he has completely vanished from sight, keeping his head down and staying out of trouble. When I became a sophomore, I saw him again. He was holding a resume, seemingly heading to a job fair, and nearly bumped into me face to face. Recognizing me, he shot me a resentful glare before walking away. Nathan beside me gossiped. I heard half his resume brags about being student council president and organizing major events. Do you think employers actually care about that? Every year, there are so many fresh graduates from an HR's perspective, solid academic performance, prestigious competition awards, and practical project experience. Which of these ISN team more advantageous than some hollow title like student union president? Nathan nodded in agreement. This semester, he chose not to remain in the student union, deciding instead to focus all his time and energy on studying and preparing early for graduate school entrance exams. The campus welcomed a new batch of youthful faces. Every club is going all out to recruit new members. A junior asked me if it's necessary to join the student union. I smiled and said, sign up if you want to, but don't have any illusions about the student union. The student union is just like Paw Patrol. Serving students is its foremost purpose. The end.